Hello, welcome back to the Grouch Orloff Show. It's episode 605, and up here in the comic book room, it's a Thursday. It's September 29th, 2022. So, been horrible things have happened in Florida, and watching that on YouTube, watching people live from Florida, seeing that our government has blown up a pipeline, which is one step closer to nuclear war. But this book is telling me that everything's going to be fine. Will the torch of liberty fall? No. But it looks like we're going to be through some rough times here in the next month or so. But we can always escape from reality by going to the local cinema and seeing movies. Oh, wait, movies are terrible now. Well, we can go to the comic store on Wednesday and buy new comics. Oh, no, they're all terrible now. There's nothing left. We're going through what I believe they call cultural Marxism, where everything that we love is being torn down and destroyed. And yesterday I had I am a Munsters fanatic, so I had to see the new Munsters movie. You know, I knew it wasn't going to be good, but I had to see it. And Rob Zombie is a fellow collector and loves everything that I love. Famous Monsters, Basil Gogos, he was monster model kits. I mean, Weirdos, Ratfink, Big Daddy Rothy. I mean, he's into all of that culture. Now, is it being born without a sense? Oh, he's also a great cartoonist, and his music was used to be pretty good, you know, in the '90s. Uh, I knew a girl, a former girlfriend, that told me, you know, because she knew him before he was famous. Because she used to book a club or something, and she said you would get along with him so well. He's just like he grew up in the same house with you. And it's like then later she was kind of like saying, the cool one in that band, White Zombie, is the guitar player. I think her name was Shania Salt, or I don't know how to pronounce it. So apparently he must have gotten full of himself. I don't know. Seems like a nice guy. Shit. Seems like a nice guy. Now, was he born without a sense of humor, or does marijuana ruin minds? I mean, I can look at Paul McCartney and his output with the Beatles, and then I can see, you know, what was his output like in the '70s with Wings. There were a few good songs, and past, you know, how did someone create all of that great music and now they seem talentless? And you say, well, he really died in 1966. You know, that's why he was barefoot on the cover of Abbey Road. Bullshit. I think that drugs destroy people. And I don't know what Rob Zombie does. I'm assuming he smokes a lot of pot because he just wrote a song about it. He just had a music video about smoking pot. So I imagine that he probably thinks that all of those jokes in the Munsters movie he just put out were hilariously funny, but they weren't. Nothing was funny in it. And he goes, and none of his movies have been good, in my opinion. Sorry to offend you, but he does the same thing he did when he was given the ability to do a Halloween movie. He goes back and tells an origin story. So he goes back to the 1950s. Because the show starts in 1964, and Eddie Munster is probably about 9. So if you go back to when Herman Munster meets Lily, you got to have enough time for Eddie Munster to be born and to get to that age. So yes, you see 1950s cars when they first get to Mockingbird Heights. And so yeah, he's smart enough to do that instead of setting it in the world of today. But wow. But then why is the okay? First of all, Herman Munster is funny because he's like a little kid. I mean, he's just like a little kid. You know, he's going around, oh, goody goody. You know, he's just like a 6 year old. That's why he's funny in this big giant body of Frankenstein's monster. But so no, in Rob Zombie's world, no, he's funny because he was given the brain accidentally of a failed comedian that wasn't funny. And when he first comes to life in Transylvania, he's like a rock star in a psychobilly band. A psychobilly band in the 50s, a punk rock with punk rock kind of misfits zombie guys playing behind him. And then why is it, if it's the 1950s, did Herman and Lily do a duet, like a karaoke duet of "I Got You, Babe" by Sonny and Cher? That was a hit song right about the time the Munsters was canceled. About what, 66? The Munsters went from 64 to 66, for those of you that don't know. It's not good. I see what he was trying to do. The bright colors you see in the trailer, he was trying to create the look of a Basil Gogos painting. And Basil Gogos has all these bright colors where you have yellow here, and blue here, then red light here, and on a monster's face. That's what he's trying to do, but he fails miserably. So I see everything I love just being destroyed. In cultural Marxism, what they want to do is they want to destroy a society by getting rid of everything that they treasure. Pull down the statues of all of your heroes. Get all that torn. Boy, my hair looks stupid. Let me go comb my hair. Yeah, tear down everything, man. Tear down. You start with Robert E. Lee, and then you're gonna move to Jefferson, because Robert E. Lee was not. I know he was the general behind the Confederacy, but he wasn't a slave owner, and he was actually very respected, even by Grant. It's sometimes I don't know, man. Of course, Robert E. Lee was an ancestor of mine, so I'm kind of prejudiced on that one. But anyway, hold on a second. I gotta comb my hair. I look like a fucking. Hold on a second. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what the fuck am I? Okay, they want to destroy everything, tear down the statues of Jefferson, Washington, everything. And then what royalty do we have in the United States? We don't have kings, but we have, John Wayne. We have Marilyn Monroe. So there's a Marilyn Monroe movie that comes out on Netflix yesterday called Blonde, and haven't yet watched it yet, but I understand that she spends the majority of the movie naked, rolling around on the floor screaming. So you want to tear down Marilyn Monroe? I mean, you want to tear down everything, man. John Wayne, so that we have nothing. And probably the height of culture in the modern world was the 1950s, musically, cars, everything. So when Trump comes along and says "Make America Great Again," he's really talking about the 50s. When he was a teenager. So people say, "Oh no, the 50s was a horrible time." And then you notice what they do with the movies. Whenever they make a movie about the 50s, they always want to emphasize the things that were bad about the 50s, which there were bad things. There's bad things in every time period. There's segregation, but you want to emphasize that. I mean that look at our time period, how terrible it is. Far worse. The cars are all horrible looking. Uh, just everything's awful. Everything's been ruined, destroyed. All of these superhero comics I love, they've torn them down, destroyed them. They were doing the Marvel movies were pretty good for the first 10 years. I mean, that first Iron Man, through um, when Thanos came along, and what have they been doing the last few years? Just terrible, terrible shit. As they want to destroy. And I look back in the 1970s when I was growing up, because I was born in '65, and it was better than today, but they were already doing all this shit then. And it started with Norman Lear, and All in the Family was funny, and the Jeffersons, but it was all starting. You just didn't realize, when you have a sitcom where the main character is just an asshole, or you've got when you've got a sitcom where the dad is kind of dumb, really dumb, like Married with Children in the 80s or 90s, whenever that was. Okay, that's funny because usually the dads in sitcoms are smart. Typically that's the way they've been portrayed, and father knows best, and Leave It to Beaver, whatever. Even the Munsters, Herman Munster, even though he acted like a 6-year-old, when he sat down and talked to Eddie, he could be a smart dad and kind of be a. But no, that was just the start. And now there is no male role model on television. If you're a guy, you're, out. And it just started then. Uh, and people remember back, oh, think about that movie Grease. There were these teachers that would show Grease to their kids in school and think, oh, it's just an innocent G-rated movie, and they'd put on the VHS tape and let their kids watch it, and it's like, wait, did you ever, you're remembering Olivia Newton-John and all that, but did you ever really pay attention to the movie? What's happening in that movie? She realizes that she needs to become like a slutty girl to get the John Travolta guy, and he needs to become like a jock, a normal guy to get her, and then so they both give up something, and then like when he sees that she's become that way, he's like, oh, forget being this jock, and it's like, no, nobody could be happy in our um, juvenile delinquent hood or whatever. So that message is not like a real positive. It's like the opposite message that would have been given in a '50s movie. And I'm not knocking Grease. I like Grease, but I mean, you play that movie. There's the song "Grease Lightning" has a lot of dirty, a lot of dirty language in it, and it's a movie about teenage pregnancy, and it's got a lot of stuff in it that's just not. It's not the wholesome movie you're thinking of. Damn. But it all just crept up on us, I liked the eerie and creepy magazines when I was a kid, but I knew they were kind of naughty, and I was kind of like a little bit skeeved out by that because I knew my mother wouldn't really approve if she really knew what was in these magazines. But I thought, well, okay, well that's that. But then Warren has to go farther and do 1984, which became 1994, where they're like cutting up little babies and eating them and stuff. And it's like, why does everything have to be ruined and destroyed? And I'm just, and so when they want to portray the '50s, like in that, what was that TV show that it was Canadian? Damn, what was it called? It's about the an ad agency in the '50s, and then it went on through the '60s. Mad Men. I only took me 1.5 episodes to see what they were doing, and everyone loves it. Oh, it's so mid-century. Look at all that beautiful furniture and the hairstyles and everything. I love that show. Yeah, but you pay attention to what they're doing. First episode, I could see what they're doing. Okay, in the '50s, there was decorum. There was a different standard of how men and women acted. Yeah, there were people that cheated on their spouses, and yeah, there was crime, but it was different. Uh, I mean, in 1969, Jim Morrison was arrested on stage in Florida for saying the F word, and now uh, every song that that you hear has the F word 40 times in it. Uh, but anyway, what they did in Mad Men is they tried to show, okay, in the 1950s was just like now. The people acted just the same. That was not some magical time. It's uh, it's all part of this plan to condition us, where we have no, and they try to get rid of our history and dumb everything down. There's some singer named man, what is her fucking name? Leanna, anyway, she's some big giant fat woman that is famous now. In this museum, brought out this flute that James Madison owned that had never been played since he played it, and they brought it out and handed it to this wonderful woman in concert. It's because apparently she learned how to play flute in high school, and she played it a little bit and said, "Oh, isn't history cool?" And then hands it back, and it's like you. And then they want her to come to the museum to play it too. What is her name? She's in some commercial where she's in a tub and she's looking at a phone. She says, "I want Takis," and all this Taki dust blows in her face. Uh, Let me see if I can't find out who that was. I just was reading about her. I don't know anything about modern music at all. I'm always wanting there to be some music that I could like today. Um, and I've always been this way. In the 80s, I remember walking around a mall and just hating everyone. I just like, these people are all so stupid. But it's worse now. And now I live where there are no malls and there are no comic book stores to frustrate me. And it's like, now I want to have a comic store because maybe I could find some old comics. I only collect old comics. And if I buy a new comic, it's reprinting something from 70 years ago. Badly, usually because they'll redraw things in the comic and mess it up. What the fuck, man? Anyway, it's just terrible. Everything sucks. Um, all my favorite artists are gone. Uh, um, I don't know what to say, man. What is the fucking name of this dumb singer, man? Who gives a shit? Um, well, here's Basil Wolverton. This is a great artist. Of course, he's not around anymore. But this reprints some of his great stuff. I'm just trying to organize and get all this stuff put in its proper place. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't, it's like I want to be like the Addams family and never leave the house. Jesus. And then, I picked these up. I don't know how good they are. When Conan was left Marvel and was taken over by Dark Horse, they look like they're pretty well done, but of course they're a lot bloodier than the Marvel comics. And then I mean, it's really the same basic thing, except they go a little bit farther. Like this one just has complete nudity on the cover. But I mean, all that was existed in the pulps. I need to read these and see how good they are. I could use this as part of my argument that things have degenerated from from the 70s when the blood all had to be black in the Marvel comics, and the nudity was all kind of hidden by hair falling down. But I mean, they're based in pulps from the 30s that were pretty much like this, so that won't advance my argument. But, you know, it's like, how do I explain why I like the pulps that were... It's just different. I love... How do I explain how I love the eerie publications with the blood and all of that? I think that's great. But I can't... it was just something different about it, the spirit of it. And speaking of spirit, every Halloween, these spirit Halloween stores open. I'm not excited about Halloween anymore. It used to be wonderful. But it's not Halloween anymore. Now it's severed heads held by metal hooks and zombies crawling around with their entrails hanging out, and and Freddy Krueger and all that. You know, that's what spirit Halloween is. It's just all very dark and gory. And I love gory... How do I explain it? Why do I like Dawn of the Dead in the movies that kind of led to spirit being... Because I like the kids element of Halloween too. It's like, but that isn't there anymore. And sometimes Target will try to do some kind of retro-looking designs, but let me show you what I'm talking about, man. If you go in a spirit store, you're not going to see something that looks like that. And this is what I love. I love the past. Look at this. I need to hang this up. New York World's Fair, 1939. I love the 50s and 60s, but then I realized that even if I let's say I went back in a magical time machine to the 1960s, it wasn't that perfect. The early 60s was great, and the mid 60s, but, you know, Kennedy was killed. And then society changed. And the Vietnam War, you know, the successor to Kennedy, Johnson, brought us full-fledged right into the Vietnam War. And that's a terrible fucking thing, man. Just like what we're doing right now, pushing Russia into a corner where something bad's going to happen, and they want something bad to happen. They're not interested in brokering peace. Trump came out and said, "Hey, I'll help broker." They're not going to listen. They're not. They don't want that. They want something horrible to happen so they can delay the election. Boy, my hair looks really stupid today. But all I care about is the past. You know. And it's like, it's not that I can't, it's just because it was better than today. Jesus. So, anyway, I'm trying to make some extra money doing paintings. I just got a check for $100, so I got to start on that painting. I hope that check hasn't been... You know, we got two mailboxes here. One is in a place where I go, which is down to the basement. Damn, the hair looks stupid. God damn it. I didn't comb it after I showered. The fuck? And the other mailbox is... you have to go out to the garage to get into that mailbox. And sometimes the mailman... Maybe it's a different mailman. They leave the mail in different spots. But you probably came here to be entertained. I just was going through a bunch of file folders. There were some things... No, I lied. I was going through these file folders about a month and a half ago, and I pulled some aside because I thought they'd be interesting to show on the show. And and they've been sitting. As I'm not going to say it. I've been kind of depressed, and I just haven't been. I need to do a lot of work on this house to get it all organized. And, shit. Oh, I gotta stop this stupid lights making noise. Okay, let's see what I pulled. Oh, look at this! I've saved a Robert Bell bag. This was the guy that had made the original comic book bags. I put it in this fancy. I put a comic bag in with a board in it with no comic, and then put it inside a fancy sleeve because historically, this is an important thing. The first comic bag, and I think I'm not the first person to do this. I mean, obviously, Captain Strangelife's done this before me, but I had a lot of Robert Bell bags. But I wanted to save at least a few. As a good friend of mine, Randy, gave me his whole Avengers collection from like issue 16 up through probably about 1975, 76. And a lot of them had the original Robert Bell bags that he had ordered the comics in. He was, ordering them in probably around 1970, 71 from Robert Bell. He's a little bit, I think he's probably about 7 years older than me, but those are important 7 years. If you're born in 1965, like I was, you missed the beginning, the most important part of the Marvel, and right as you're being born, that's when the best stuff really was coming out, about 1965. But if I had been 7 years older, and I was 7 in 1965, and for, all of that, oh boy, the Fantastic Four was so great right about that. And sometimes I'll save, when I find these old boards for comic stores that don't exist anymore, I kind of find them interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm a moron. Here's another one from that same store. I guess it was in Fort Worth, Texas. I guess in the 90s, people made their own. They put their own prints on these. Here's another one that just has their stamp. It's probably an earlier one. That's kind of interesting to me. I don't know. Am I a moron? Of course I am. Oh man. Oh, this must be a Robert Bell. I think that one came from my friend Randy, and this. I think this was sent to me by Captain Strangeliffe. It must have been. Let me see. I've got his handwriting over here. I think so. Oh, look at this that Captain Strangeliffe made. I'm about to hang these up. I'm a big fan of the thing. He does these kind of like music mashups. He does these comic book mashups. Oh, yeah, man. Look at this print. I guess it's from the DC Who's Who deal. Yeah, I got so much stuff around here. Look at this, man. Tell me why I haven't framed this. Look at this Frankenberry poster. Now, that's another thing. Frankenberry, they still bring it back every Halloween time. It used to be sold all year long, and it used to taste better, but it does not taste right anymore. But you have to have been there to know it tasted different then. And it wasn't just that I have these rosy memories of being a kid. They've changed the formula. Unquestionably. Not that it was healthy back in the 70s or anything, By the way, that's maybe another reason I'm cranky. I'm starting to feel like the sugar shit that I'm drinking and eating or whatever is starting to really affect me. Obviously, I'm getting fatter. But I'm starting to feel like bad things are happening in my body. So I've cut out sugar. This is like the third day, so I'm not going to drink any of this Coke and Dr. Pepper anymore. Even though they're still a sponsor of the fucking Gratu Orloff show. Dr. Pepper is still our official sponsor, but I hate that shit. I don't hate it, actually. I love it. But I can't drink that shit anymore. It's fucking poison. But remember that good times begin with Dr. Pepper. It's the light and lively taste, and it's good hot or cold. You know, ask Donna Lauren or Dick Clark. Donna Lauren's still alive, but probably because she never drank. I bet she never really drank it. That's probably why she's still alive. And she still looks good, too. Yes, indeed. Blazing Combat, ladies and gentlemen. Blazing Combat. War Tales of Extreme Realism. You know, one lucky thing is being born in 65. I've gotten to the age of 57 without the draft ever affecting me. I don't know how I would have reacted if I had been drafted. I think I'm too much of a pussy. I marvel at my father and one of my older brothers and a good friend of mine here, one of the Four Color Fossils, Meyer Greenblatt, that are able to jump out of airplanes. All three of them were. It's like I can't even handle a roller coaster, much less that. You came here to see magazines and comic books, though. Here's Wonder Warthog. Now, the underground comics of the 60s, I love those. Even it's not that I'm a prude, because they were funny, man. Something's offensive, but it's funny. I love it. I was a huge fan of National Lampoon. And that's something wonderful about the 70s. National Lampoon came out every month. And the Monster Times. And Castle of Frankenstein was still around. And all of this, there was a lot of great stuff. At the time, I thought it was a horrible time because a lot of the fashion was terrible. And I was so disappointed by the Spider-Man TV show, and the Hulk was okay. The Hulk was okay. I don't know why the dog is in the next room barking. It's probably a ghost. That's a pretty good picture of Carly Simon. I liked her music. I liked the shit that played on the radio. Look at this. National Lampoon was great. I mean, it really was great. But my dad used to read U.S. News and World Report. See, they would do parodies that look just like the original. Stupid News and World Report. This is the stupid issue, and it's great. There's something in here that I thought was hilarious. Oh, they would do parodies of comic books. Here's a parody of Classics Illustrated, classical comics, featuring Theses by the world's greatest philosophers, The Republic by Plato, and they have Plato looking like W.C. Fields. Yeah, this was good stuff. They even make it look like the art from Classics Illustrated. And when they do a parody of Batman, they would get like Neil Adams to do it. You know, this is a great magazine. Anyway, what I wanted to show you is they have a parody of the SAT test in here. It's the 1974 stupid aptitude test, the SAT. It is hilarious. Let's see if I can find. Here's the analogies section. President is to Republicans as A, boil is to neck, B, albatross is to neck, C, heat rash is to neck, D, noose is to neck, or E, turd is to swimming pool. 30. Clasme is to venge as A, furlong is to bast, B, surgil is to pentor, C, hanted is to parge, D, bilated is to thresk, or E, grell is to slurm. And it looks just like an SAT test and everything. It's really fucking hilarious. The whole thing looks like an SAT test. National Lampoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the March 1974 issue. And National Lampoon was great, and then the original creators all died off. There was a great National Lampoon radio hour that was put out right about the time that issue was out. It was on the air, and they had a cast of John Belushi and Christopher Guest and Bill Murray and Gilda Radner and Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother, and then a lot of those people were stolen. Michael O'Donoghue was a writer, and they were stolen for the original cast in 1975 of Saturday Night Live by Lorne Michaels, and that was great for a few years, and then it became really bad because Lorne Michaels ran out of National Lampoon people. And then National Lampoon became bad, and then Saturday Night Live became bad, and those were two things I love. And I'm trying to think of anything that I like today, and I'm running. I just can't think of anything. This was a great thing. Famous Monsters of Filmland. This is issue 61. This is kind of the lighting that I'm talking about. If I pull out some other Famous Monsters. Well, I'd have to go into the closet there, but you know what Famous Monsters look like. That's what Rob Zombie was trying to do with his little fun project. But I would always look at the ads first in the back of Warren magazines. Look at the posters you could get. The Jack Davis Frankenstein, a poster of Fu Manchu, Bridget Bardot. Yesterday was Bridget Bardot's birthday. She's still around. Back issues of Monster World. This issue's from 61. This is probably about 1973, wouldn't it be? January 1970. Damn. There's Forrest Ackerman. On the left there is Carol Borland, who was in Mark of the Vampire, and she's kind of like the original inspiration for Morticia Addams and Lily Munster and every vampire woman that you can think of. Look at this 2-page ad for the then new magazine Vampirella. Another thing that's terrible today. There's people still trying to create a Vampirella magazine today that's a piece of shit. There's a human skeleton, monster feet you could get. Unbelievable. Who else wants a live monkey? They used to sell squirrel monkeys through this. And of course, they had to deliver the live animal to you, even if it was a holiday, because they don't want it dying. So that was, I have heard a story that I think is pretty confirmed as being true. I probably told it to you before, that this boy ordered this monkey from one of these magazines. How much did the monkey cost? I'm wondering. Let me check here. Anyway, it showed up on Thanksgiving, and the food was all laid out on the table. And the little boy goes to the door, and the monkey shows up. How much is this fucking thing? Who else wants a live monkey? You can be the happiest boy on your block with your own live baby squirrel monkey. So they assume that you're a boy if you're reading this. They don't say happiest boy or girl. Although I'm sure there were cool girls that read this. Have loads of fun and enjoyment. Train your monkey to do tricks. Come to you for food, petting, and playing. These delightful monkeys grow to almost 12 inches tall and are golden in color, slender, short haired. Each monkey has a heart shaped face, appealing eyes, and grows a tall, almost 14 inches long. No problem caring for or feeding your monkey. It eats lettuce, carrots, fruits, almost anything you eat. Affectionate and lovable, almost a member of the family. Soon after you get your pet, dress it in cute costumes, put on shows. You and your monkey can be real pals. Live delivery guaranteed. Send 1995, and so that's live guarantee. That's why they delivered it on Thanksgiving anyway. So he gets the monkey out of the box. The monkey runs to the Thanksgiving table and begins masturbating into the mashed potatoes. That is the story I've heard. I'm sorry, I know this is a family program. You probably weren't expecting that. Anyway, that says on here, I got distracted. I believe it says these bell bags are from around 1971 or so, I think. In 1968, I bought my first bee bags, first bags for $3 per 100. Oh, bee means bell bags. Yeah. I only have one left. He also had lighter bags, 100 for $2. So yeah, that's from Captain Strange Life. So I've got some collector's item Robert Bell bags there. What is this here? Oh, just a board. This is remnants of a movie script that was once written by me and my friend Tom Ranoni. And at the time that I found this, I couldn't find the original script, but I've since found it. But anyway, this is, I call it the script that we wrote. It was, here's the original rough draft when it was called Faces of Pain and Dismemberment. Oh, actually it says it's by me. A rough draft by Kenneth Weinert based on original concepts by Kenneth Weinert and Tom Ranoni. Okay, so I wrote this thing completely on my own based on the ideas that we had. And here's even some of my, what a trip to look at this. Here's my original hand-scrawled caveman stuff. Let's see. The senior individuals in our society have also taken advantage of this dramatic new process. Oh, okay, I can't read. Yeah, someday I'll read the script on the air, maybe. This folder is labeled Russ Meyer, but there's nothing in it. This is cool. I used to put out a magazine called The Sophisticate, and these were. This was the Now Generation in Action. It's a release party at Forbidden Books and Records. Some of these flyers are, So it says, be among the first to get a copy of issue 16 of The Sophisticate. See, it's got some Japanese anime girl on it. Can't believe I just left these. These were kind of offensive, but let's see. Sophisticate release party, May 22nd, 1993, at Forbidden on 825 Exposition in Dallas. I used to go to Dallas all the time and hang out at Forbidden Books and Coffee, and until I got mugged and sent to the hospital, and then I started to realize that maybe big cities like Dallas are a place I need to avoid. This was a flyer for the release of my magazine, and some friend of mine put out a magazine called Freak Meat. So it says, shocking, bestial, dust to dawn blood. This is one of the greatest images I ever saw. Where he's ripping his own head off. I have that one sheet. Why it's not framed, I don't know. So just bring all the children. Saturday, May 22nd. Okay, so I have these flyers. I probably should frame them. This is See What Happens After Dark in Big D. And that's one of the, when I had a digest size magazine. That art is by Charles Hancock. That's cool. So I found those. What is this here? Some of the, it looks like some of the original art that I did for the magazine. I've got like a alien creature reading it. Let's see. Something I drew. There's a comic strip I did called Zombie Man. What is that? Oh, here's the original art for Zombie Man. I ought to hang this up. Because I don't have, I was saying I don't have much original art, but I guess I have some of my own original art. Oh, I should frame this. This was done by my friend George. This guy would later go on to do all the advertising for Six Flags Over Texas. He signed it Norman Rockwell. I gotta frame this shit, man. This is great. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Finding cool stuff here. Yeah. All right, what else is in here? This is from my friend Joe Riley and Eddie Holland. They had a magazine, Monster Attack Team. This is promoting their magazine. And, oh, here's a letter from John Michael McCarthy from April 16th, 1994. I need to get back in touch with him. Oh, actually, yeah, he did some artwork for like here's his card. This artwork he did for Something Weird for Mike Vraney. That's great. Yeah, I've got a whole folder of stuff and correspondence from him. Neat. Yeah, I'm glad I saved all this stuff. I just need to get it in the filing cabinet. I hope I can reverse the damage I've done to my body by cutting out sugar. I don't know. Here's this was a promo for Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. It was a Steve Martin movie where he put himself into clips from old film noir movies and tried to structure a whole movie with where he's in. This is a little fold-out poster. It was not a successful movie. People did not like it. I liked it. Was it really funny? I don't know, but it was cool. This is Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. I couldn't find the magazine, so I made a color copy of a friend of mine that had it. That was before eBay. Here's a flyer for Basket Case 2 that they gave out at the theater. Flyer for Drugstore Cowboy. I think they had a spinner rack. They showed a comic book spinner rack in that movie. Oh, this is a drawing Joe Riley did of Alfred E. Newman. Cool. Now, what is this? Oh, this is cool. The Granada was an old, wonderful movie theater in Dallas that, um, when I first started going to it in the mid 80s, it was a repertory theater. And then they, the guy running it had a collection of movie posters and 35 millimeter film trailers that he'd collected. So when he ran these movies, this is a Granada schedule. Like here on October 31st, he has a Halloween show with Curse of Frankenstein and Horror of Dracula. And he uses an original 1950s looking Halloween witch. But so November 12th and 13th, he'd have a double feature of Jack Nicholson. November 26th through 7th, he had Head and Psych Out. Here, he's got a double feature of Star 80 and Taxi Driver. Never-Ending Story and Time Bandits. But if, let's say you went to see the 1966 Batman, and next week they were going to have For a Few Dollars More, you would see the For a Few Dollars More trailer play before Batman, and it would be an original 35 millimeter trailer from his collection. And if you went to see, say, that's fine. Oh, we would always go to the Three Stooges festivals and drink heavily. Yeah, man. It was about a 30-minute drive to get there, but we went all the time. But, okay, let's say that you went to see Batman or Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad poster would be in front of the theater, the original poster. And then the lobby cards would be where the lobby cards should be, and the insert, he'd have the whole lobby decked out with the original posters from his collection, not reproductions. And it was cool. So this is a little freebie, and it has little articles on different people featured in his film festivals, and then little descriptions of the movies playing. Okay, so the landlord of the Granada started to, I guess he thought he could make more money if he turned it into a place where you could tear out a bunch of seats and put in tables, and they could bring you drinks and food, you know, those modern theaters. So he started to ignore problems, and it was an old theater built, I'm guessing, in the 30s or 40s. So if it started to get a leak in the roof right above the projector, he wouldn't fix it. And then he started to tow people's cars from the parking lot. You parked behind the theater to go into the theater in the lot that belongs to the theater, and then tow trucks would come and you'd come out and your car would be gone. So he's trying to get people to stop coming and not fixing anything that went wrong in the theater to try to run. I'm trying to remember his name. I met him and I went to his house and saw his poster collection. He's a friend of my friend Tom, and I'm trying to think what his name was. It'll come to me as soon as I stop filming. Anyway, eventually the landlord got their wish, and they were still running movies, but they tore out most of the seats or every other row or something and put in tables. And I remember seeing Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. They did show that, but it wasn't like this, showing double features every other night. They changed the double feature, and now it's more of a concert venue where, and I'm sure it's a pretty good concert venue. But this theater had in the early 70s, this is the 80s here, they had briefly tried to run, when porno movies became chic with Deep Throat and all that, they tried to show those, and the local neighborhood kind of banded together against that. But But they would show X-rated, like Caligula was an X-rated movie. They were showing the original version of that, not the R-rated, cleaned up version that played in normal theaters. And yeah, this is whole night of Warner Brothers cartoons. The next night, Fellini movies, Satyricon and Arabian Nights. And try to remember. Oh, I cut something out. Boy, that's stupid. Did I do that? Sound like Urkel. Did I? Oh, I must have cut out the picture of the Three Stooges. Because at the time, this was everywhere, and I must not have realized that this is something you need to save, because this is a memory that will be gone, and there will be no more theaters like this in the future. And there was I've got some phone numbers from some people from Lone Star Comics at the top. I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe I ordered something special order from Lone Star. Yeah, well, this is another thing that was cool in the past. It's Granada. Okay, so I've had these pulled for a while to show to you. Now you've seen them, and I can put them somewhere else. Oh, I pulled Dave Stevens covers. Comic Crypt of Castle Hills is an amazing collector in San Antonio, and he was showing off that he had pulled all his Dave Stevens covers, and I never thought to separate them. So I followed his lead, and I went through and found all the Dave Stevens covers I have, and I think there's some I've forgotten, and some are in digest-sized magazines or in another box, you know, like covers he did for Movie Star News catalog or Betty Pages, but shit. Hold on a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I need to pull some books, put them in this box. This is a cool comic, which I can't account for why I don't have every single copy of it, because it's so great. And I would go to, I've shown this to you recently, I remember. I would go to Lone Star Comics looking for new comics, and of course there'd be nothing. And I'd wind up buying these old reprints of pre-code horror and in this case weird romance comics. And but I must not have gone often enough, because I missed some issues, and I bought it every time I could see it, although I think it was kind of expensive. Or was it? No, it was only $4, so I can't account for why I don't have more of them, but I guess I need to get more. I remember buying this at Lone Star Comics. This is, it feels like an underground comic, but it's actually not R-rated or X-rated. It's just more, I'm pretty sure a kid could read this. Oh, that's another thing. That Munsters, I watched people do reviews of the Munsters movie, and I heard someone criticizing the movie for his humor falls flat, and yes, it does. And then they say he has Grandpa reading Play Ghoul magazine, and I was thinking, no, that was actually a joke in the original series. He was reading Play Ghoul magazine, so I thought, Okay, so they're not educated enough. But when I saw the show, he's reading Playghoul magazine, but then they draw attention to it, and Igor, who is a human who later gets turned into a bat, is commenting on the girl that's in Playghoul, and then he shows the centerfold, and there's no nudity. It's really badly drawn. So he takes the joke and he rings it instead of just showing a brief glimpse of Grandpa reading Playghoul. But I've also heard people saying it's really not a good movie. It's family friendly. Kids can watch it, but kids won't like it. And so as I watch this, it's not family friendly at all. I mean, there's Grandpa's is talking about how once you hit 300, everything goes bad. And he says, and I mean everything. He's talking about his sexual, He said, well, that'll fly over kids' heads. But then when the doctor that creates Herman goes on television to talk about his new creation in Transylvania, and he says, well, you can all eat my shit and kiss my ass, and they barely bleep when he says those words. And is that funny? No, it's not, and it's pretty pathetic. But that's what marijuana does. That's why they brought in the drugs in the '60s to make us more stupid. And the local supermarket has flyers that say, even though the pandemic is over, and it says, get the vaccine and you'll get 20 cents off for every gallon of gas. It's like that guy from New York is saying, we'll get this yummy cheeseburger and these fries if you just... Okay, we'll look at some Dave Stevens covers. And there was a Superman book that came out yesterday with Mike Allred art, but I was excited about that, but I was told no, the art may be fine, but the writer is a terrible writer. So, okay, well, at least I saved some money on that. Here's Airboy Valkyrie. That is Airboy number 5. Alien Worlds number 4. Yes. Here's Betty Page Comics. And the artwork inside is good as well. I mean, this has his art in it as well. Betty Page was someone that not many people knew about. People that were into old girly magazines, Lex Interior and of the Cramps, I'm pretty sure he would have known. Very few people knew who Betty Page was. She was a pretty popular pinup star of the 50s, but not like Marilyn Monroe. It was more of the guys that knew who she was. She was not famous with the general public, but with the more perverted crowd in the 50s. But people knew that she would sell magazines and even record album covers back in the 50s. Okay, so Dave Stevens used her as the model for a character named Betty in The Rocketeer, and then it blew up in the comic book world, and people became aware of. This is actually not Dave Stevens. That's Jim Silkey. I guess I just pulled it because I wanted the Betty Page books to stay together. But there's nice artwork in here. I mean, there's a Betty Page book put out today. I think they still put it out. But the artwork doesn't look like this. It's shitty, and it barely even looks like Betty Page. So this is Betty Page, Queen of the Nile. It's issue 3 of 3. There were 3. I don't know if I have the first 2. I don't know. The artwork inside is great. It really is. Why I don't have all of them, I don't know. But it looks like I need 1 and 2. Here's Cheval Noir, issue 7. So anyway, there are rumors, she's still alive. Where is she? It was total mystery what had happened to Betty Page, and everyone was trying to find her. And there was a magazine put out called The Betty Pages by Greg Theakston, and Dave Stevens was involved in that. And eventually, she was smoked out. Greg Theakston and Dave Stevens principally found Betty Page and got her to back into prominence. I mean, they got her, they found her. She really didn't want to be photographed. I think there's one photograph where she's with Hugh Hefner and some blonde where you could see what she looked like now. But, I've got several copies of that. So anyway, they found her, and she was able to be appreciated in her old age. She realized that people loved her and what she had done, and so that was great. And she got to make a little bit of money off of, I've got a print back here of her Playboy Centerfold, the Christmas one, that's signed by her and Hugh Hefner. I can show you that in a second. That was in the 90s when she was getting some prominence, but then she passed away, and I got a few copies of that issue. This date, the Crypt Keeper of Castle Hills was showing this and saying that it's hard to find a copy of this where the red doesn't bleed over. There's a lot of printing errors with this. Mine seems to be fine. But he says it's very hard to find one. Here's an ad on the back for Planet Comics. Here's King Kong. The art inside is done by, who's this guy? I forgot. Oh, Don Simpson. Yeah, it's the Megaton Man guy that does the art inside, and I liked him. Here's Mr. Monster. There were a lot of good independent comics back then. Here's the famous Planet Comics cover. And an ad for the Jungle Comics. It's kind of cool with the green background. This is that Glenn Danzig line of comics. It's Neo Satanica Tales. Glenn Danzig's another guy like Rob Zombie that's into the stuff we're into, but whenever he tries to represent our culture outside of his music in comic books or movies, he made a movie called Veronica. They're not good. Well, I don't know. You can argue whether his comics are good. He had Frazetta working for him kind of for a little bit, or at least providing access to his paintings. This is Three-Dimensional Seduction of the Innocent. This is a really great cover. But anyway, yeah, they're influenced by the right things, but they're not. They didn't deliver. Here's Space Vixens, number 16. Now, back then, it was still unusual for girls to have tattoos. Can you imagine? Just 30 years ago, whatever, however long ago that was. Not as many women had tattoos. Now every teacher has a tattoo, usually on their ankle, you know. Here's Xena, Warrior Princess. First season of this on television was really great. Roy Thomas wrote some scripts. He even writes the script for this. It felt like it was one of those Conan, Red Sonja books come to life. But as the series went on, it started to lose me. I believe Star Slayer #2. Oh, yeah. I think that's the first appearance of the Rocketeer in this ad on the back. And then this is partly Dave Stevens, partly Steve Ditko art. And a great back cover. And here yeah, the art in this book was really good too. I never really read it other than just having a few issues. It's cool to just, I'm starting to section off my collection, you know, I'm pulling out all the Dave Stevens, I'm separating the DC War books from the superhero books. I'm not sure why I'm doing it. Maybe just to take my mind off the fact that we're losing our country. But there's a Donald Trump rally. Well, it's not tomorrow. It's Saturday. He had one scheduled for October 8th, but he canceled it. And people are speculating that means that he knows that they're going to arrest him by then or something. Who knows what they're up to. Disney made a movie based on the Rocketeer, and they had a Rondo Hatton-looking character in it. And it was a great movie. Looks like I'm running out of power. What bothered me about, well, the only thing I remember about the movie is that, well, they didn't make her look as much like Betty Page. I guess the actress was cute enough, but they took that away. And the whole movie he's trying to learn how to control his rocket pack, but he can't control it. And so it seems like there's only a few minutes in the movie where he's actually the Rocketeer and he's in control. It seems like most of the time he's just a fumble butt with it. These aren't Dave Stevens covers. These are just recent issues. I haven't even read them yet. And I mean, that would be okay at the beginning, but I want to see the hero as a hero in a movie and not just trying to learn how to be the hero for the whole movie, especially when there isn't ever another movie afterwards where you can see the Rocketeer in full Rocketeer mode throughout the movie. It's kind of like Greatest American Hero, you know, the TV show that wasn't bad, but it's like, okay, let him be a hero, but every episode he has to be, you know, falling, and I'll have to go get the charger cable. So, I was asked about paintings on the stairwell, and I never responded. Someone was asking, what is the painting that you showed on the stairs at like 1 hour and 6 minutes in? And I never went back and looked at the video to see what painting was being talked about. So while I'm going down the stairs, I'll tell you every painting, and that might help. Okay. Let me get. There's Drew the dog. turn this light on. Okay. This painting here was done by Joe Riley, my friend. It's dated April 28th, 1995. It's Ed Wood. He gave that to me as a birthday present. So that's Joe Riley's art. This is a painting of Clara Bow that used to be in her house that I bought from my friend Tom Renoni. He bought it at a sale in Hollywood. So I don't know who the artist is, but it's a painting of Clara Bow. This is just a print. This is Jaclay. It's not original art, but it's numbered from X and O. It's just Fred Flintstone eating a rat from a ghoul woman. Make sure I'm getting that in the shot. Okay. This is original art by someone named Brevins or Blevins. Where it was printed, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's for a high school GPHS. It might be Grand Prairie High School, so it might be a local piece to the Dallas-Fort Worth area because that's where I got it. I think I bought this also from my friend Tom Renoni. Looks like there was a price tag there at one time, so he may have gotten it from like a antique mall. So it's really great art, but that's what that is. This one is, oh man, another Warring on battery. This one's a painting that I did of myself. That's Scraw-2 Orloff's True Appearance. I got to get to the charging cable. These two are done by X and O. They're original paintings of a Batgirl and Fred Flintstone. This Ming the Merciless is Don Marquez. And this is another Joe Riley painting from 1995. I commissioned him to do a painting of Vampira. So, hold on. I can't really... Okay, now I got it. So that was Joe Riley. So those are all the paintings on the stairs, other than this painting of Jesus. So let me get the charging cable, or this episode's going to end real soon. Where is... Oh, there it is. I'm watching myself on television. How vain is that? Now we got the Christmas tree up. No, Drew, that's not a toy. Yeah. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Thursday? I feel like I need to check the news every 2 hours to see if see how bad things have gotten. I hear there are hundreds dead. I bet there's more than that dead in oh, Drew trying to come in the comic room. Drew, no. Drew, come here. Drew, come here. Come here, Drew. Come here, Drew. Drew, come here. Drew, come here. Come on, Drew. So I've got shit everywhere in here. I don't want her to start chewing on something. I'm still organizing. Come on, Drew. Come here. Come here, Drew. Come on, let's go in here. Okay, Drew, I'll be right back. I promise. It'll be all right for her to come in here once I dog-proof it. I don't want her chewing on a painting patent or something. I've got all these books to organize. I'm starting to get closer, but anyway. So the world is fucked, ladies and gentlemen. Just fuck. Anyway. I gotta pay property tax this month, so it's gonna be a really rough financial time. And so if you want to buy paintings, or commission me to do a painting, please let me know. Um, I was commissioned to do a painting for $100. Gotham City Comics traded about $100 worth of stuff for me to do a painting on a blank cover comic. And then another viewer was wanting to buy 2 of these paintings that I did years ago, and I said, well, what do you think is fair? I said, what do you think, $100 each? I'm not sure if he's answered because I have a hard time going through my email. I need to check my email again. I think he might not have liked that price. I don't know. At this point, I just need to. I need to make some money. Anyway, I was talking about squirrel monkeys. Look at all those wonderful Aurora model kits. But Famous Monsters is a great magazine, but they had another magazine. I was showing this last night on Graphic Man's 4-Color Fossil show. And this one, because Famous Monsters was a hit, James Warren put out other magazines thinking maybe people just love nostalgic old movies. They're in the early 60s, and he thought, I'll put out, how about a movie about old movies, called action movies, called Screen Thrills Illustrated. And then how about a magazine about old westerns? And how about one about what was the other one? About science fiction, and it was called Spacemen. But they never were as successful as Famous Monsters, but they have these cool ads in the back just like Famous Monsters did. And I was joking that if you wore a pith helmet to school, you would probably be beaten mercilessly by a bully. Like, Joe Biden was a bully when he was in high school. He likes to brag about what he was one of those football players that like to take people behind the gym and beat them up. He brags about that. He says, I'll take that. I'd like to take that Donald Trump behind the gym and beat him up. And, he's just this jerk that grabbed women by the crotch and said, I thought you liked me. He used to do that when he was a senator. And so that's what he is. Now he's this frail little old man, but he's been evil since he was a kid. Because even in the 50s, there were assholes even then, and he was one of them. Now own a real shadow type mask. Well, I'm sure they're going to be trying to bring back another pandemic. When they do, that's the mask. I got to find one on eBay. They say, you got to wear a mask to come in the supermarket. That's what I'll wear, man. A shadow type mask. At last, you can have your very own Hollywood shadow type mask. This is the same kind of mask worn by many famed movie heroes and villains to mystify millions. The amazing head mask is all genuine wool, double stitched with felt lining for real comfort. For convenience, the mouth flap snaps open and shut. The mask is held in place by elastic headbands, while the special wool collar drapes down over the shoulders. Use your mask to 1. Make a movie with yourself starring as the mysterious Avenger. 2. Organize a masked phantom club with your friends. 3. Be your neighborhood's costume sensation on Halloween. 4. Protect your face against freezing cold winter weather. Act right now, or the next time there's a big pandemic, like in 1918, back when, you just wait, when did it start? 2020. Buy it now, and you'll be ready for 2020. Yeah, they have the movie ads just like Famous Monsters, but they're not for monster movies. Well, Lost World's kind of a monster movie. Wow. An automatic that shoots flames. You can get your own Kong. What else? Book about Jane Mansfield. You can fire real bullets. You can get your name on a wanted poster. Portable electric megaphones. You can become Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. What else we got here? You can get Spacemen magazine. Get a record on how to hypnotize people. I wonder if that is. Oh, you get all these things like a hypno coin and electronic hypnotism machine. I saw one of those at an estate sale. It was a hypnotism wheel, and it was a bunch of stuff from a dentist. And I thought maybe this dentist hypnotized people so they wouldn't feel pain. But it was a wheel like that, and I looked at the electric cord, and it was all frayed. And I thought, well, this is going to need some restoring. It was like $60, and it's like, man, maybe when am I ever going to see another hypnotism wheel? It was like this big. And I thought, I have to replace the cord. I don't know how to do that. My friend Gerald probably could do that. I always relied on Gerald to fix things for me. He was the genius. But, he lives in Dallas. I'm up here in Wisconsin. So, anyway, so I thought, oh shit. Then I saw this lady came in to look at it and admire it as I was walking away, and she reached over and plugged it in, and there was huge sparks. It was like, shit, look at the cord first, moron, before you plug it in. You get these albums with horror movie music. That's on. A lot of these records are on YouTube. It's like got the Creature from the Black Lagoon music, but you could play that record while you're playing these movies on your projector, and it would give it, because they're all silent, and you could make it seem like you're in a theater. But there are great stills in here. Like, when have you ever seen this still of the Kirk Allen Superman from the serial? Probably they came from Forrest J. Ackerman's collection. Here's the Fleischer Superman, because he had an unparalleled collection of stills. And but this magazine is actually not edited by him. There's great pictures from the movie serials. It's edited by Sam Sherman from, what was it, Independent International Pictures, that did put out the Beast of Blood, Filipino movies with John Ashley and Dracula versus Frankenstein. See, there's Samuel M. Sherman. Yeah, man. Jack Davis art there. Shit, what the fuck was that? Yeah, so this is a cool magazine. Yeah. But yeah. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful, horrible day? Thursday, September 29th. I just wonder, when is it all going to go bad? Is it in an hour? Is it beginning of October? The end of October? When is the shit going to hit the fan? But, it's like Obama said, elections have consequences, folks. Of course, that's, you can't really say, But, 80 million totally legitimate votes for, it's all legitimate, man. There's nothing, it's all real. Believe it. Here's Spaceman, super issue. All these Vampirellas, I gotta get them in the Vampirella box. Yeah. Here's a more modern Vampirella from, I don't like how they changed the logo. And the painting's not very good, but this is from a later period where all the ads in the back are for Star Wars stuff. It's in Battlestar Galactica. It really was kind of depressing. Man, they were selling Vampirella #1 for $95. They sold out. I've got a copy of Vampirella #1. It's not in very good shape. just keep thinking about where are things. Because I've moved and I'll see something like I know there's some things that disappeared in the move, but like the Star Wars Super 8 film, I have that. And I'm thinking, where is it? Because I have a stack of Super 8 films. I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. Where is that? It's like I get flipped out. Like where is everything, man? I don't know. Damn. Here's my grandfather's baseball card. I don't know if that's even in focus. He played for the Yankees, the Cubs, the Phillies. Here's a little Sabrina the Teenage Witch comic. It's Bubble Funnies. I've got more of these, but I don't know where they are. They're probably inside. When I built a model kit, I wanted to keep the box, and I would fill the box with little things like this in it. And so if I go through some of these model kit boxes, I'm liable to find the other ones from this series that I think were Marvel superheroes and things. It's just a little kind of like, damn. Where are those Super 8 films, man? Maybe I have enough of a charge on here that I can go looking for them. They're not in the garage. Okay, so here are my Bronze Age and up comics. All right, there's 36 boxes here. And over here are my Silver Age comics, Marvel and DC. Okay, books. I'm looking for the Super 8 films. I've opened every box. Are they in this closet? You know, it's just it's just not nonstop. Over here are some of the off-brand Charlton's not in here. Gold Key. I've got Archie, Harvey in there. Down here are underground comics. Okay. And here, Famous Monsters, Mad Magazine. There's my... I've got to work on the organizing these underground comics here. Shit. This is another American icon that they try to bring down. I understand that they have a scene in this new Marilyn Monroe movie on Netflix where she's giving him a blowjob. That's just, you know, then they can tear down two American heroes. Oh, here's what I was showing you. I was wanting to show you. See Betty Page's autograph and Hugh Hefner's autograph, and it's this. And then here's the original centerfold framed. There's Captain Marvel's autograph. These 4 boxes here are independent comics that I'm trying to organize, and that's where I pulled those Dave Stevens books from. Let's put this picture of John F. Kennedy somewhere. I guess that's as good as any place. Okay, I'm going to wander around and see if I can find these films, man. That's driving me crazy. The things that are missing were probably stolen by these fucking meth heads that helped move us. Because one was a hot rod trophy. That's something they would have stolen. One I can't find is my video camera. That's something they could have stolen and pawned. And the other thing was a Pebbles Flintstone doll from the 1963, and they probably took that for their girlfriend or something. But I couldn't see them taking Super 8 box film of, you know. So I don't know, man. I'm losing my fucking mind, to be honest with you. I just can't. I don't know where anything is. Shit. There's Drew. Drew, have you seen Super 8 films around here? I think I was putting magazine boxes in this closet here. God damn it. There we go. This is a box of Fangoria magazines. This says Comic Book Artist Magazine. And back issue, that is what that is. This is labeled magazines. That doesn't tell me much. Oh, man. I need to go through this box. Okay. There's some good stuff in that box. My battery is low, 20% remaining, it says. Okay. God damn. The only place I can think that they could be are they in the... I've got a room with Batman's. It's like, I call it the Batman room downstairs. It could be there. They're not in the basement. This room, I really don't have anything in here yet, except some boxes, and I'm starting to put some of these things here. Here's Erie Publications. Okay. Let's look in that Batman room. That seems like a place I might have stacked those, but I don't think so. Shit. Let's look over here. It's all a mess. Oh, here's some magazines that I was looking for that I put out. No, it's nothing here. Let me set these down here. Yeah, I mean, I'm finding some things, but I go off, like, I start fixating on something, and I'll think, where is it? And then, okay. All right. Are they in here? God damn it. This is, oh boy. I need to get this room in ship shape. Where would they be, man? Where would they be? Shit. Well, that's something I was looking for down here. Was this? Oh, there's my camera. Oh, fuck. This is what I thought was lost. So now I know that there's only Pebbles Flintstone. And oh my God, I'm so happy I found this camera. Now I know that Pebbles Flintstone is gone. And I know that